Right now, try to tickle yourself. Go on. Dig your fingers into your own ribs, your own neck, the sole of your own foot. Nothing. No laughing, no squirming, no reaction at all. Now imagine someone else doing the exact same thing with the exact same pressure in the exact same spot. You'd be helpless, same fingers, same touch, same body, and one is completely boringly nothing, while the other can reduce a grown adult to tears.
Not.
So, what is the difference? The difference is not in your skin, it is in your brain. And the reason you cannot tickle yourself turns out to be the same reason you know, without ever thinking about it, that you are you and not someone else. There is a system running quietly in the back of your skull whose entire job is to answer one question every waking second. Did I do that or did the world? Lose that system, and you don't just start tickling yourself. You start to lose the line between yourself and everything else. So here's the obvious guess. Maybe your fingers just aren't sensitive enough on yourself. Maybe your nerves go a little numb when you're the one doing the touching. Maybe you simply can't reach the exact spot at the exact angle that actually works. All reasonable, all wrong. The skin under your fingers right now is exactly as sensitive as it was a moment ago, when someone else's touch would have made you jump. Nothing about your body has changed in the slightest. The only thing that's different is who is in charge of the movement, which means the answer isn't in your skin at all. It never was. Whatever is switching this sensation off is happening somewhere further back, somewhere before the touch has even landed. Here's where it gets genuinely strange. Before you even move your hand, your brain has already worked out exactly what that movement is going to feel like. Every time you make a voluntary movement, a small structure at the back of your brain called the cerebellum builds a prediction. It takes a copy of the instruction your brain just sent to your hand and uses it to work out in advance precisely how that movement will feel when it lands, where it will touch, how hard, when, and once your brain already knows exactly what's coming, it quietly turns the volume down on it. The parts of your brain that register touch and the parts that register how much a sensation actually matters to you respond noticeably less to a touch you predicted than to the exact same touch arriving as a surprise. That is a whole trick, not weaker nerves, not a different kind of skin. A prediction made a fraction of a second in advance that cancels the surprise out of your own hand before it ever reaches you. And here's the part that turns this from a guess into something you can actually prove. If the whole thing runs on prediction, then breaking the prediction should break the block and bring the tickle back. That's exactly what researchers found. Set up a simple device where a person controls a touch on their own hand and it feels the way self-touch always feels. Almost nothing. But add a short, deliberate delay between the movement and the touch it produces, or shift the touch slightly off to where the movement was aimed. Suddenly, that same self-produced touch starts to feel noticeably more ticklish again. Nothing about the skin changed, nothing about the pressure changed. The only thing that changed was whether the prediction still matched reality. Break the match, even slightly, and your brain treats a touch less like something it already knew was coming, and more like something the world just did to you. Now, here's why this isn't really a story about tickling at all. This prediction system isn't some special tickling module tucked away in a corner of your brain. It's a general purpose system running constantly whose entire task is answering one question over and over every second you're awake. Did I cause that or did the world? It's the same reason your own voice, played back to you live as you speak, sounds completely unremarkable, while a stranger's voice at the same volume grabs your attention instantly. It's the same reason you don't consciously register every footstep as you walk, but you notice immediately if someone else's foot landed on yours. Your brain is constantly filtering out the sensations it causes, so the sensations the world causes actually stand out. Tickling is simply the one place you can catch this filter red-handed, where the difference between you doing something and the world doing something becomes something you can physically feel, instead of something running silently in the background of your entire life. So what happens if that filter runs badly? In people who experience auditory hallucinations, or the unsettling sense that their own actions aren't fully their own, this same self-produced touch attenuation weakens. Self-touch starts to feel closer to how an external touch would feel, as if the brain has partly lost track of who is actually doing the touching. It isn't only found in a clinical setting either. In healthy people who simply score higher on certain personality traits linked to that same territory, with no diagnosis involved at all, the effect shows up too. On average, they report being noticeably more successful at tickling themselves than people who score lower on those traits. To be clear, this isn't a test. Tickling yourself a little more than usual doesn't mean anything is wrong with you. It's a statistical pattern across groups of people, not a verdict on any individual, but it's a striking confirmation of the theory. The very system quietly filtering your own touch out of your senses is, in a much bigger sense, the system responsible for feeling like a single, coherent self at all. Weaken it, and the boundary between you and everything else gets a little less solid. Before the ending, one honest complication because the tidy version of this story leaves something out. There are actually two different things we call tickling. There's the light, feathery kind, the crawling sensation you get from something barely touching your skin. And that one you actually can trigger on yourself, at least partly. Then there's the heavier kind, the one that makes you laugh and squirm and beg someone to stop. That one is almost impossible to produce on yourself, no matter how hard you try. And here's the part most explainer videos on this topic skip entirely. Nobody actually knows why the laughing kind of tickle exists at all. The prediction story explains why you can't do it to yourself. It does not explain why being tickled by someone else makes you laugh in the first place, or what job that response is actually doing for you. It's still described by the researchers who study it as one of neuroscience's genuine open questions, not solved, just honestly, currently a mystery. So come back to where you started, hands still resting wherever you left them after trying to tickle yourself and feeling nothing. That nothing wasn't a failure of your body. It was proof that it's working exactly as it should. Somewhere in the back of your skull, a system just ran the same check it runs every second of your life. Did I do that, or did the world? And because it already knew the answer, it let the sensation pass by, quiet and unremarkable, the way it lets your own footsteps and your own voice pass by unnoticed. That system never switches off. It's running right now as you read this, quietly confirming again and again that the hands at the ends of your arms belong to you. Most of the time, you'll never notice it at all. The one place you actually can is right there, in your own ribs, in the tickle that never quite arrives. If the odd, overlooked side of being human is your kind of thing, there's a lot more of it here.